Thank you, Mayor, council members. And thank you to the citizens who have come out this evening and who have contacted us either privately or through the lovely medium of social media. That is the information and the feedback that we need, is to hear your voices. So as I considered this issue, it's clearly multi-layered, but I'm going to discuss my points along maybe two focus lines this evening. As you may know, or maybe not know, if you haven't spoken to me, I am a fiscal conservative. And so when I ran for this seat, as I communicated and continue to do daily, my primary concern has been the use of taxpayer money, that it touches as many citizens as possible in a responsible and efficient manner. And those are words that I have previously used and continue to use that as a guideline. And so as I've dug into the details, along with fellow council members, it is difficult, it is a lot of work, it is a lot of time. Attending meetings of committees that you aren't even assigned to, just for your personal knowledge and benefit. And that's the commitment that I've chosen to make, because that's the way that I feel I best understand the issues. And in digging into those details, I do come to a different conclusion, which with respect to my colleagues, fellow council members up here, I don't think is a surprise, as sometimes we agree and sometimes we differ in philosophy. But my concerns on one side related to this increase are related to the concept of efficiency. And I know that's also a discussion that we've had before. And so as I've examined this budget and throughout my time here, some of the processes that we've had, if you've noticed, every item that I've put up on future agenda, including some that we've discussed here as a group, the focus for me has been how can we improve, are there any issues, if any, and how can we make it better? And some of those concerns roll along the line of issues that have been discussed, such as clawbacks, the elements of public safety that we've discussed, project duration, completion and management, SLA follow-ups. And in addition to that, outside of those, we've been faced with issues of increases in rate fees to deal with funds, and as has been mentioned, sales tax. We have an issue that we're dealing with our side on sales tax that we're not necessarily seeing over on our neighbor's side, and it's concerning to me that amongst other items are not fully clear at this time, and therefore I don't feel that it's prudent to be requesting more money or this level of increase when there are still answers to be had and work to be done. And I know we've had this discussion, I know I have with city manager, and I know some of these items are beginning to be addressed, but at this time I do not feel comfortable making an increase with those items still open. So that's one side of the conversation. The other side that I think finally has been mentioned a little bit, although it's been a large topic of discussion up to tonight, radio interviews, newspaper articles, and that has been the action of the state legislature. And also I think some of the reaction that we're getting is not merely because of the increase, but this level of rollback rate. And so I'd like to address that and my portion of that philosophy. I do agree. I wish the conversation would always start with the effective versus the rollback or the proposed rate, because the effective is really, to me, the true starting point. But with respect to what the state has done, you know, state governments, create our local governments. Our Constitution makes no reference to government at the local level, and so our state is responsible for creating and overseeing it. And in Texas, our state law makes that clear, our Constitution and our code. And so in a way, this implies the sovereignty of the state over the other governmental units, and in that way, the state is granted the power, and some would argue the responsibility, to keep these political subdivisions, for lack of a better term, in line. And especially when there is a sense that they're limiting the freedom of the citizenry. Basically, the bottom line is the municipalities are creatures of the state. And I believe that as such, they should be defenders of local liberty and not an expanse of local control. And so I think the issue tonight, and I understand, I hear the concerns of not being put in a situation where we can't cover the needs, of concerns of uncertainties, but there's a second half to this, and it's that the voters have already decided via their elected state representatives that they favor lower taxes. And proposing a tax increase just under that 8% limit so that voters aren't allowed to weigh in, I believe, at this time goes against that. And so for all those reasons combined, I will not be supporting tonight's tax rate.